Good day YouTube, today I shall attempt to do a ranking for the 6 boss fights in Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3, 6 being the easiest and 1 being the hardest. Okay, I like to qualify some of the controls that I have for this particular ranking. It's subjective of course because everybody's playing experience is all going to be different depending on the combo and the mix of your party. So I've actually used the same 4 party members for all my boss fights. I did not change them up or anything. All of them are kind of at either the cusp of level 12 or they are already at the level 12 cap when approaching these fights. I don't change the gear much except for the last 1 or 2 fights when I get some upgrade in terms of gear from the House of Hope. But other than that, everything else is consistent. My fighting strategy when I approach these bosses are also largely similar, which requires me to just surround the antagonist with my 4 party members and the summons and then employ my favorite fighting tactic inspired from one of my Hong Kong movies that I really like. Okay, so we're on to fight number 6. The easiest one, in my opinion, is the fight against Sarok, our good old friend. He's the main antagonist in Baldur's Gate 1, and he made a small cameo in Baldur's Gate 2, coming back as a possible companion. So 100 years later in Baldur's Gate 3, our dear friend is still up to his mischief, and you're required to either take him out or to ignore this quest completely. It is optional. So what I did was to wipe out all his minions so that they couldn't buff him. And after that, quickly surround him with my players and my summons. He has quite a bit of HP. He's a level 16 fighter, so he can deal like 3 to 4 attacks per round, and it's a little bit difficult to land a hit on him. But eventually, I wore him down, and it's quite an easy antagonist to take down. Right, on to the next one. Fight number 5, Gortash. To be frank, I didn't even do any research on this particular boss before approaching him. I'm quietly confident that once I took down all the steel watchers, this guy wouldn't be much of a threat. However, when I approached his chambers, there are a lot of traps, mechanisms in his room, and that proved to be quite annoying. So studying the environment gave me some really cheesy options. I put most of my members outside to wait for him. I sent a sorcerer to sneak in, throw in a fireball, aggro him and his minions, and as they come out, they got hit by all kinds of AoE along the way. And once he's out in the open, solo, again, my guys are surrounding him and the same old battle tactics ensue. Okay, next fight, Orin the Red. I have detailed out this fight quite a fair bit in my previous video. I think for this particular case, you have to know the mechanics of this boss. As long as you know a way to deal with her 7 unstoppables within 1 round, you take her out, the fight is actually very simple. Okay, so just a fair bit of research. The first couple of rounds I tried my usual tactic and it really didn't work. She's like close to invulnerable after each turn. But once you know what her game plan is, right? Yeah, she's actually not that much of a threat really. There are a lot of ads running around the place, but once you take her out, the rest are just easy peasy. Yep. Okay, next fight we have the dragon, Answer the Dragon. Well, this guy does quite a fair bit of damage in his one-shot KO, so you got to try to take out most of his HP prior to that. For this guy, I did not bother with any lightning resistance gear. I did not arm myself with any dragon slaying arrows, which some of the guides will encourage you to do. I just went straight for him, and it was a little bit of a drama when he did that one-shot hit. I didn't know where to hide. 2 of my players died and the remaining 2 were able to take him out after that. So I rank him pretty high up because of his durability and that one-shot gimmick. There weren't a lot of minions around. I think there were like only 2 water spirits around to help him. So yeah, but you have to focus quite a fair bit on the dragon. He also has close to 600 HP if you're playing on Tactician, so it's not that necessary to be able to take him down fast, yeah. But overall, very straightforward boss. It's just hard hitting all the way. Okay, I think this next one is a really tough one for a lot of people. In fact, I think quite a number of players would rank this as the toughest fight in the game. But for me, House of Hope, rank number 2, is not as difficult as the final battle. I followed some of the guides which told me that I need to get rid of his minions first. After that, I need to follow up with the pillars, and eventually I'll just surround him and do my usual gang bullying tactic again on him. He is extremely durable. This particular fight took me close to 45 minutes, and this is me having Yuger on my side already. I managed to persuade him to join me, and I also have Hope with me because I just wanted to save her from all the misery that she's been going through, and she proved to be a very useful ally in this particular fight. So I have all the things on my side on this battle, and yet it took so long because this devil refused to die. He has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and his minions also do take quite a fair bit of damage before they finally go down for the count. So it's pretty long and exhausting. And if you follow the guide and your sequence of fighting is as per what I've mentioned earlier, it's a pretty straightforward fight to me, alright? And at this point also, most of my characters are already decked with some of the top tier gear which I stole from the House of Hope, and they are all at level 12, and so this is probably as powerful as my party can get when I confront this fight. So now to the number one absolute creme de la creme toughest fight for me in the entire game is the final fight on top of the Nether Brain. There are just so many things that can go wrong. There is a dragon on the other side. The Emperor has turned on me because I betrayed him and is on the other side. There's a whole platoon of Mind Flayers who are just raining magic missiles onto you, and then you have a couple of these doppelganger guardians running around. And if you run around a fair bit on the top of the brain, the tentacles will come out and take you down as well. So it's really very frustrating. You can call in your allies, but they get wiped out really fast by the dragon if you don't have a whole monster spell in your disposal. And eventually you ultimately have to get to the portal and get in to deal with the Nether Brain and not be distracted by all these NPCs that are trying to stop and delay your final mission. And even getting through the portal after that, you also have to make sure you're not on the falling plate, because sometimes your members will be on a floating plate that is destined to fall the next round, and you do not have time to move your players off, and they just die. So it took me quite a couple of rounds, and this is very satisfying fight, very challenging, but very difficult. And not surprisingly, is the fight that I go back to replay the most number of times, both out of necessity and out of a sadistic sense of joy, because I actually adore the challenge. Right? So leave your comments. Which fight do you think is the toughest in your opinion? Did I miss out any of the fights? I know some people deem the Shah Olympics fight as pretty tough as well, but to me that one's quite an easy walkover, so I didn't bother to rank that in. Alright, drop a like, a subscribe if you like everything you've heard so far. Thank you for sticking around, and yeah, have a good day.